Hello, hello, hello. Today, I am so excited to introduce and have a discussion with, and really just even just hang out with Linda and Craig that you can see on the screen with me, because I I just think they're like the little hidden secret. Have you ever gone to a place and, people say, go to this suburb, but you go, "Oh, I don't know what to find here." And then you go for a walk and you stumble across and you think, why don't people know more about this gem? Well, this is it. This is this moment. So today I'm interviewing it as I've kind of taken time away, but I would definitely wanted to come back and do this particular interview. There's Linda and Craig, who are the founders and operators of True North, that are committed to alchemy. Now, if you don't know what that means, I'm going to get them to explain it because they're way smarter than me in terms of what that means and what that offers. So in today, the intention I have and coming into this work is to share the beauty of this work and definitely the beauty of this amazing couple in their background. Now I'm going to look, and let's just see if they go red. This will be fun. They're both in the work and been in the work of alchemy and really working to develop people to really align with their genius and create what you truly love in this world in a way that is just simple. It takes anything that's complex and makes it so simple. Now, they've been doing this for over 15 years, and I'd imagine before this, because they're pretty amazing just as individuals themselves. So they've unfolded and emerged in this work. So Craig's been doing it for over 15 years. I know he looks young, but it's been over 15 years. And Linda is just a little bit behind him. And in doing that, they came from a yoga sort of background as well, and really helping people connect into their body and really work and, get that higher sense of what's happening for them. Because if you've ever done yoga, you have to go outside your body. And in terms of what they have, the work that they've done that I've experienced as well, which is why I'm so excited, is they really help you connect in a way that I just haven't seen before. So we're talking to somewhat veterans of the work in the way that they've evolved it and they've experienced it. So first of all, now, Linda or Craig, you can both answer. I think it's always fun when we just jump in. When you hear the term, or when you get from somebody like, what is alchemy? What would you say to them in trying to explain alchemy to someone? Because there's so many concepts. How would you explain it?
Well, let's start with what alchemy is in the fairy tales and the mythology and what we know of turning lead into gold. So, it's for us, it's actually a metaphor for what happens in our life. But it's a really good metaphor to use because in the myths, it's about taking metal that's not worth very much, such as lead, and then turning it into something precious like gold. And there's a process to that. And that process involves taking the raw material, making it volatile. Like when you pick it up, it's fixed. It's defined as that. It's defined as lead, for example, and that's what it is. And it's got no value really. And then we make it volatile. In that metaphor, it gets heated up. It gets made more unstable. And then we apply the tincture and it turns it into gold. That's a very short version of the alchemical process and that sort of thing. But it's a fantastic metaphor for when we're dealing with transformation in our own life, because we need to take how we know life to be and what we believe all we know about life to be, and we're very fixed in that. We think that that's what it is, and that's all it is. There's nothing else really there for us other than that. But we can go through a process of making that volatile, of sort of questioning it or seeing it in a different light and examining it from that aspect of us that I'm sure we've all experienced, where you can feel you're sort of outside of the situation, you're not stuck inside it. And from there, you can actually then apply certain tools and techniques to take that volatility and turn it into something else. So turn it into a new way of being in the world, or a new experience that you'd love to have, or a new thing that you would love to actually manifest into your life. And that can sound a little bit woo-woo, but it's all based around, we only have what we have in life, or we are who we are in life based on pretty much how we think we are in the world. And if we can shake that up and go through that transformative experience, we can make it whatever we want. And that's what I love about it, because I've always been a big dreamer of, oh, I could have this, I could have that. And growing up, of course, I'm sure we've all been through that and got told, oh, no, you can't. You can't have it because of this, or we just don't have the money for that, or you can't have it because you're not tall enough, or you're not this enough, and we buy into it and we believe it so much that that's how our whole life becomes, isn't it? And so that's what I love about alchemy, and how the metaphor of alchemy applies so beautifully to getting what we really want in life. So yeah. Add something to that.
Well, I agree. And I think like the principles of alchemy are what I love, that see you being able to work with natural forces that we're already using. We're just unconscious to the fact that we're doing so. And the big difference is that when we're unconsciously operating in our lives, it sees us coming from an orientation of serious limitation, and we're creating very limited results and outcomes for ourselves. And we have this sense that life is something that's happening to us, and we've just got to duck and weave and make the best of whatever the situation is. But when it comes to alchemy and the principles that we teach based on alchemy, what it does is it allows you, as Linda's saying, it allows you to take what was otherwise fixed in places. This is how it is here, with regard to me, others, the world, that's the story. And now I've just got to get on with it. It allows us to shake that up, make that volatile, so that a person can come to realize that actually we're all really powerful creators, and we're creating all the time. And when we shift from creating unconsciously to being conscious about how we're using those natural structures and forces that exist, that are available to us, then we can actually use them in favor of the things that we'd really love in our lives, so that life becomes more of something that more of our creation that is reflective of our true potential, and our true essence that seeks expression in the world. So yeah, I find it fascinating and at the same time really powerful work, but really straightforward too. Once it's like, it's beautiful because it's so easily applied in your life. And that for me was what was really important, because I'd learned a lot of different sort of stuff over the years in different realms, and they were great at the time, felt great and that sort of thing. But I found that they didn't, for me, I couldn't apply them to the degree that I needed to in life for them to make a difference. Whereas with this work, I found for me, I could, and then got the benefit of it. So that's what I love.
And just your answers, there's so much in it, because what I love, and you said this, Craig, is that a lot of people think that life is happening to them. Now, I don't know if people have heard the way that you spin this in your business, but I love when you say it's not even happening for you, because most people hear the cliche line, it's happening for you. And I know, I just saw Linda smile going, yeah, no. That it's happening through you, which is a really powerful principle in the way that you've taken this work and really simplified it to be able to create that. I just think that's beautiful, just that little key distinction. So here's something to take away if you're watching this interview. It's just that it's happening through you. And in the way that you do this, how do you take these really, because you were talking about Hermetic principles, as well. I hear you often talk about that. But in your work, what I notice is you make it so simple, because if you think Hermetic principles are simple, I would challenge anybody to read the Kabbalion, because you're just going to get confused after page 1. But I know that you guys make it so simple. So how have you really applied and brought that work, through that uniqueness, which I see is really you? You're just amazing in the way that you deliver it.
Yeah, I think it's it comes down to, I actually love the Kabbalion. It did confused me for a little while, but you
I'm
know,
doing this.
I think as yeah. Well, I think one of the things that really kept drawing me back into it was I actually in my previous lifetime I was a chiropractor, and I was a very philosophically based chiropractor. So I got right into the 33 principles of chiropractic, and I loved that because it gave juice to what I was doing. I wasn't just out there moving bones and, you know, and getting people moving better. I understood that why I was doing what I was doing. So that love of philosophy was brought across through into alchemy. And there's many crossovers there as well. And so the Kybalion, it just points out, here are the things that you do need to know about how the universe works, how certain things are. Like, for example, there are laws in the universe, such as gravity. We're all subject to gravity, right? But does that mean we don't get to fly? No, it doesn't. It means we use a higher law over the lower law. We use the law of lift over the law of gravity, and we get to fly. We get to actually move. You know, well, now we can move anywhere in the world and almost anywhere in space. You know, just because of the laws of lift overcoming the law of gravity. And so knowing those sorts of things, I think what it does is we get to operate on a level of extraordinariness. And I don't even know if that's a word, but it is now, right? but that because we start to learn that we're not limited to how we think it is. You know, there is so many ways that we can go about it. And that's just one example out of the 7 principles of alchemy. Things like, you know, if you're unconscious, as Craig was saying before, you're subject to the swing of the pendulum. You'll have the emotions of the highs and the lows. And if you have a low, you're about to have a high, and vice versa. It'll just keep you in that swing to the point where eventually we're having a good time and we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, when is it going to go bad? When is it? But when we start to learn to use the principles, and we learn about rising above and polarizing into positions and places and feelings that we would absolutely love to remain, we're never subject to that other shoe dropping anymore. You know, we don't have to experience that. And so when we can handle ourselves emotionally, that opens up a whole new world to the possibilities as well. Because otherwise we get a bit emotionally shaky, and then next thing we're pulling the rug out from under ourselves in terms of going for what we would love. We start to doubt, and we start to question, and we start to worry, and whatever else, because we've all got individual patterns that we live by. So applying it to everyday life, this, you know, it's an ancient wisdom. It's been handed down, and in the Kybalion, it's been rewritten by this mysterious 3 initiates, which they think is one person, and then they don't know if it was or whatever. Anyway, whoever did it in the early 1900s, you know, they've done a pretty good job at writing it for that day. But now it's really important that, you know, the principles aren't changing. Until proven wrong, that they will remain. And to this day, they still stand the test of time and the test of life. And so how do we bring that into the modern world? And so with our teaching, we do a lot of modern things. We play with little tricks and things, and show you how that actually works to use the principles and get the things that you would like, regardless of who you think you are, what your emotions are telling you, buying into your thoughts and feelings. So I think I went a little off track there, but hopefully I kept it generally around.
Yeah, there's so much in there, and just even the tricks, because when you say tricks, I know that, and I hope if you're listening to this, you see that sometimes we can play tricks of the mind. And sometimes it's when we play and when we expand that we can actually think, oh, that's the trick I've been playing with myself. So I love the fact that you mentioned that, because that really is the experience where we even get the awareness we've been even tricking ourselves in life.
Yeah.
And Craig, I wanted to ask for a minute, because I know that, you know, like you've been involved in work, particularly for men. And I know there's been this really great movement in terms of, you know, working with men and men being able to express and to actually create a position in the world that hasn't kind of been ordained by social structures, where it's reduced how they function. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because that's been amazing seeing how you've been unfolding that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, as I think we all come into the world, we go through natural processes that see us kind of what we call individuate, but see us sort of forming an illusion of separation for ourselves, and, you know, creating an orientation in life that's one of limitation, and it's all about survival, right? So we get started, and it's like the way I see it with the guys that I work with and myself, I sort of see it like you've been cast out of your kingdom, essentially, you know, as the king of your domain, being your world, your inner world, and what you create in your life as well. It's just that we've lost touch with that. It's still there and true, but it's about showing people the truth, you know, and also showing guys the illusion that they've established for themselves, so that they can see, you know, the ways in which the dynamics that have been at play that have kept them separate from their own truth, their own wholeness, and buying into an illusion of identity that they've formed, you know, over the years. That's not them, you know. So, but and they can live a whole life from that illusion. Plenty of people do. But what I love is to expose the truth so that guys can see and reclaim their kingdom, you know, and so and by that I mean come back to their truth and then share that with the world. So it's men's work, but it's not about me saying, hey, I'm going to show you guys how to be more of a man in the world. It's so not that. It's about saying what I love doing, what I'm passionate about, is showing you the way you've been holding yourself separate from you, and the way that you can come back to the truth of who you are, and what is that, and what are those things that are in you seeking expression through you in your life and in the world, so that guys can, and I mean, same goes for everybody, but just when we're talking about working with guys, so that guys can share their gifts with the world. Because whenever anybody does that, it's such a contribution in the lives of other people, you know, whatever their gifts are, whatever's true for them. And that's how I see a man being in the world, truly who they are. You know, it's not about trying to emulate what a man's supposed to be or what societal norms are or whatever. It's no, who are you? You know, when you drop the cloak, who's this guy? You know, and what are you about? And then life takes on a new level of meaning, you know, and fulfillment and purpose, sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I love about that work. And I love working with guys. I mean, I work with men and women for sure, but there's just a facet to my work that's really true for me, to work with men, you know, and it's really cool. I love it. It's unique to that.
And I love that, because that's that coming home. What you were talking about is coming home. And I remember the old phrase, like, your home is your castle. Well, now we're going to say it's your kingdom. You know, and because sometimes, yeah, we create the illusions of who we are, and we know there's something different, but we don't know how to come back to it. And that's just so powerful, like you said. Now, I want to share is that, you know, one of the elements that, you know, I wanted to bring forward today, and it's like, you don't know if it was a secret for you, it's now going to be exposed, that Linda and Craig are running a retreat in February. And that's the other thing, you know, I love for that to share, for people to experience this work. Because I think even today, like, I'm just sitting here captivated listening to how you describe stuff. But in terms of that retreat, and I want to pick up on a point that you said, is that, you know, lead to gold, you know, taking the lead. And you know, sometimes if you're thinking about, like, sometimes when people go to a retreat, they think, oh, it's just going to be massages and it's going to be, you know, good food, which is always a plus, good food, and sitting back and people telling them stuff and you just switch off. But with the retreat that you've got coming up, and taking this element of lead is often that thing that is really grating somebody, or where they feel they're not, or where the friction is, or really where they're sort of going down on themselves. What have you catered this retreat to really explore and to bring forward in those that attend it?
Yeah, so looking at the emotional side and what we call the negredo, the lead, you know, we certainly don't need to be getting in there and going, oh, let's find all your wounds and let's pick at the sore spots and make you cry and all that sort of thing. But what is really enjoyable about this journey is that we can look with our sense of greatness at what's going on that level and go, oh, okay, yeah, I own that I do that when I'm not conscious. I own that I do that when I'm dysfunctional, or when I'm, something comes up, and let's call it triggered. I'm not a fan of that word because it's bandied around a lot these days. But if something comes up and there's a response to that we would call reactionary or over the top or whatever you want to call it, where did that come from? But we do it in a gentle way, and we do it in a way then that also beds into your awareness of, I'm in my stuff right now. I'm in my Negredo. And to not be worried about that, because the structure of the whole thing is about taking that when it does arise and go, oh, actually, that gives me tension, that gives me energy. And I can actually use that energy to create something else from here. And not to soothe the wound or run away from it or anything, but I can actually consciously direct that energy like a jiu-jitsu master into something that I would love. So even if it's your spouse that has given you a bit of a, rile up in some way, shape or form, maybe they left their undies on the floor or something, it didn't clean up. And it's like, oh, that really gets me. He knows that it gets me. And I've told him 1,000 times. And if you can orientate into something else and go, all right, you've got this energy here, but what would I love? What I love? Well, I just go bigger. Like I don't just want him to pick his undies up off the floor consistently. What I actually want is this incredible relationship where we travel the world together and we explore things together and we go out for beautiful dinners. And, that's what I would really love. And then we can come into a state of, well, what's obvious from here? And then you can redirect yourself. And you'll probably just find yourself happily picking up the undies and not making it mean anything about you. So we've sort of gone through a process of going from Negredo, using that energy, that beautiful energy, and taking it into something that we love, and fortifying the things about life that we're really here to experience, not having another grubby argument with somebody because something doesn't suit us in our agenda.
And I love that. Undies to traveling the world. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It is indicative, it's going from things that, irritate to things that you actually love, and really being able to shift that. Because one of the things I've noticed, and it's really hanging out with you guys and going into your work, is that, if I talk to a creator, somebody that's, done your work or that's in that community, they'll have something happening and they'll just tell you what's happening. Whereas sometimes you go other places and somebody's, very emotional and very it just becomes so big, and something like undies gets really big and suddenly it's their whole world. And I think that's what I love, is that's that complexity to the simplicity well described by you. So in the retreat, in terms of, if people are interested in coming along to that, what other kind of things, let's get a little bit behind the scenes stuff. What other things could they expect?
Oh, she's really going to dig her away. We've kept it pretty quiet as to what we're going to be doing, aren't we?
Just one thing.
Pick one. You pick something first, and I'll pick something second.
One of the processes that we'll be doing, which is one that I love, is as with us talking about the lead and that sort of thing, is that we often typically we deny aspects of ourselves that we believe are not enough. We tell ourselves, and we may not even do this consciously, but there's aspects that we won't show in the world. We won't. That's in people can't see that about me because if they know that, then I'm going to be seen a certain way that I don't want to be seen. I'm going to feel the pain of that and all this sort of thing. So as a result, we're getting around in the world. We want to be authentic, but we don't know how, because we keep on letting ourselves down essentially, and then beating ourselves up later about it because we want to show up authentically, but there's something kind of missing that allows us to do it. So this process, I love where we take people through a process where they get to come to know the other aspects of themselves that are there, and it's just there's no judgment going on. We've all got it, and this sort of shadow side. But the beauty of the process is that people come away from that having sort of a new relationship with the truth of who they are. So the result is that people have this greater sense of more of themselves, they get an experience there and then of being able to show up in that moment in the truth who they are and embrace that, and it's gentle, like, and it's not crazy.
It's not traumatic.
It's just gentle and really beautiful. But it just allows people to go, oh, hey, I'm okay, and to really embrace everything. And I think that it's great because, when we work with transformation and transforming that lead into gold, if we don't have the lead, if we don't have that shadow aspect of ourselves, we've got no raw material to work with. Once you realize that those aspects of you, your shadow side, are a big part of you coming to know the truth of who you are and creating what's true for you in life and the life that you really love, then no longer are you so quick to judge yourself and to kick that stuff out, try and deny it and hold it down. You can truly, just embrace the lot. And there's just a huge liberation in that. It's just so freeing because you can breathe.
Feel complete. You don't feel like there's missing or damaged parts of you, because there isn't. There's just you.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want to pick up on this point because I really want people to get this, because it was profound what you just said. Because I remember learning very early on in your work was that we all have been taught that we've got to slay that part of ourselves in order to get something, like a condition.
Yeah.
What you teach is actually befriend it.
Yeah, that's right.
Use it more there. And I don't know if you're listening to that point. I would pause that video and listen to that again, because that's a big shift even in transformational work or personal growth that is not embraced elsewhere. They always try and fight it. And if you fight it, well, you've got to have a nemesis. So it's just going to get bigger. But you teach very differently in how you use it. And that to me is profound in your work. And I love the fact, because you might know that Craig does improv you as well. So he's into about playing and having fun with it along the way as well.
Yeah.
Linda, I haven't forgotten, you said that you share one thing.
Oh.
I should put in everyone.
Oh, now there's so many cool things. I'm just trying to think of something. We there's some really cool demonstrations that we do, which is, we taught, obviously, like everybody, taught a lot over Zoom over the last couple of years, like, and that has really put us in an international standing. So I can't argue about that. However, we ran retreats long before the pandemic was even a thing. Like, we didn't even know there was such a thing as a pandemic, apart from maybe the Spanish flu. Anyway, and in those retreats, we have these awesome ways of demonstrating certain things, which you can only really experience when you're standing there in your flesh suit with other people and playing with these different things. We'll be doing some things with, learning about tension and what tension really is. And, we've brought into the misconception that tension is bad and we've got to get rid of it. And we want to feel peaceful and comfortable all the time and all these sorts of things. And so we'll be absolutely standing up and doing some really cool things with these massive rubber bands that we've got and playing with tension and seeing how with just a change in your perception and your focus, you can actually turn what you would define as bad tension into magical tension that creates absolutely incredible outcomes with just knowing what that tool is. But once you see it and once you experience it and you've embodied it by doing it, you'll never forget it again. Like, it won't be, oh, so how's that thing going again? No, it won't be. It'll just be, I got that. It landed. And we use this thing called a helium stick. That's lots of fun.
There's a lot of laughing will go on.
Yeah, a lot of laughing.
It's very playful, and that I just love that about it too, because for me, I learn stuff really well when it's fun. When you can just have a good time, but you can still be absorbing transformational work and information. And I love that it's sort of it's fun, and so it's easy. It's easy to get the gold, essentially.
I don't have the stats on this, but this is my Linda stat. My Linda stat is that if you're laughing while you're learning something, I reckon the retention goes up like 7,000%. Right? That's a Linda stat. That's not a.
Let's put it in print.
That's how.
You've heard it. Yeah, 7,000%.
First year, 7,000% greater retention with laughter.
So I want to thank both of you for taking time out of your busy schedule, because as you said, you do work not just in Australia, but you really have that total international reach, because I'm reaching out to you from London right now. So
Yeah.
to learn more about your retreat, I'm going to put the details below this for the retreat that's coming up. And
Yep.
I wish I was there. Just missed. I fly in just after.
Wish you were
We
too.
wish you were too.
It'd be so much fun. So I want to talk to you. I'm going to talk directly at the camera. For this retreat, like I just think, you already showed the playfulness is there and how you can bring the simplicity. That if you really want to be able to come back in or come home, like Craig was talking about, I'm just totally taking that away and going to pinch that when you're coming back home to where you truly are, if you want a place that's safe to go there to do that, then I really think this retreats, and Linda and Craig are the right people to be there to hold that space as you discover who you are. So with that, again, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to catching up with you later in the year, because I know we're going to catch up later in the year.
Yeah,
Awesome.
beautiful.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Gayle.
thanks, Gayle.